Eat this!
What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and is Black Ops 4 multiplayer essentially a Black Ops 3.5? Absolutely not, but in terms of story, it's going to be close to a Black Ops 2.7. Black Ops 4 multiplayer is a completely different gameplay experience, and will of course have that Black Ops 3 aesthetic feeling, since once again, hello, it's a Black Ops game. Now, the game's considered a celebration of the entire Black Ops series. Yes, it's a brand new game with plenty of new features, endless possibilities with the amount of content they're putting in, but it's still a Black Ops game. Now, to break it down for you, I'll be covering multiplayer in this video, zombies in a separate video, and Battle Royale in another video as well. But are there jetpacks? Can you wall run? This game is boots on the ground. There isn't a campaign, or I should say a traditional campaign, in Treyarch's upcoming Call of Duty, as we all expected based on the leaks, and I knew for a fact. Not only did Matthew Harris know most of this, and not only did he destroy his own credibility by saying he made shit up, but other major gaming sources like Charlie Intel, Polygon, Kotaku, they were receiving this information from their own sources. So that's why I had little doubt in the idea of a campaign-less Call of Duty this year. So the story of Black Ops 4 is essentially spread across multiple game modes in Black Ops 4, multiplayer, Battle Royale, and other little features we haven't seen yet. So the game seems to be really focusing on the specialist, as we saw within Black Ops 3, but this time we're seeing their backstory, essentially the true Black Ops 3, because most of Black Ops 3 is a simulation. So whatever these specialists experienced in Black Ops 3 multiplayer was all in their heads, all in the DNI, a simulation. So we're actually seeing how they got to where they got in life, as I would say, here within Black Ops 4. So filling in the gaps between Black Ops 2 and 3 is, to me, very important, because Black Ops 3 was super far in the future with a completely different cast of people we didn't really understand. But this game's obviously going to fill in those gaps, and maybe in the future, if a Black Ops 5 comes out, we'll see a true campaign, which could either tie in the Mason storyline, or just completely give us an entire narrative based around these specialists and their backstories even farther than we're going to see in this game. So in terms of those rumors regarding Black Ops 4 multiplayer being similar to Overwatch, Rainbow Six, Titanfall, I would say they really took a step back on those similarities. Yes, we have a new health system in multiplayer. Instead of automatically regenerating your health, every character has a health set at 150 instead of the usual 100. And health regeneration is no longer automatic. You have to use either your L1 or L2 buttons if you're on PlayStation, or your LB or LT buttons on Xbox, to use a health pack, similar to the World War II campaign where you also didn't regenerate health over time. You had to use your health pack thanks to the support of one of your allies in your squad. So this is huge for competitive. This is huge for multiplayer in general. I'm okay with this change, but people consider this copying Overwatch and their health system. But here's the thing. This is called innovation for the series. It's not invention. Invention would be saying Treyarch is the first dev team to come up with this idea and mechanic for a multiplayer experience, and that would be false, because yes, Overwatch has this, but it's innovation for the series because it's something we haven't seen before, especially in multiplayer. We've seen it in campaign with World War II, we saw it back in Call of Duty 2, an old-ass Call of Duty game from the PlayStation 2, where within that game's campaign, health regeneration was not a thing, and when they introduced health regeneration in Call of Duty 3, I believe it was a big deal. People were saying this is weird, it's awkward, it's too easy, it makes you feel like a god. And what happened? That stuck with the Call of Duty series all the way until now. Holy fucking shit. Years later, over a decade, almost 2 decades later, we have health regeneration. And now Treyarch's going back to an old-ass feature from one of the first Call of Duty games that people are still talking shit. So that's my problem with this reveal, is that the community can never be pleased. And this is nothing new. You know, Treyarch's done great things in the past. People bitched about the 1911 not being in Zombies Chronicles. People bitched about so many things across several different Call of Duties. And once again, the dev teams are free to do what they want to an extent. Of course, they're under Activision. It's going to be a big change for competitive and even pubs in general, but I'm okay with innovation. Treyarch changing things up. People do say that this is an example of fixing something that isn't broken, but once again, keeping the series the way that it is now with the same DLC model, the same multiplayer experience, is going to get old. Black Ops 3, in my opinion, was the last current gen Call of Duty that was able to utilize the basic Call of Duty model in the best way that Treyarch possibly could, where you have campaign, multiplayer, zombies, this number of game modes, this number of maps, map packs release every 2.5, 3 months, and after that, it's just fucking ridiculous. IW completely flopped. World War II Zombies is drier than ever. It needs change. The series needs change. We can't have that basic Call of Duty model anymore. It's not working, and they're not going to be doing a good job at competing with free games like Fortnite if they're releasing the same type of game every year. So this is important. Now, in terms of the minimap, you will only see a portion of what's going on in your match thanks to something called Fog of War, as the Treyarch team described it. The new minimap system only shows you what's happening in a small radius of yourself. So kind of similar to the usual minimap we're used to, but at the same time focusing more on a specific radius on the map where you're at versus showing a majority of the entire map and then kind of showing, you know, what's happening 30 feet next to you. You know, it's a little different from what we're used to, but also really focuses on teamwork. And I like this because playing pubs is also getting old. I think Call of Duty is really centered around playing with a team in terms of multiplayer, not just on the competitive side, but playing pubs by yourself is not fun. I know for me over the past couple of years, skill-based matchmaking is trash. I never liked it. I have a pretty high rank in multiplayer, especially for Black Ops 3. I have a pretty good KD, and I'm getting put with scrubs who can't even go even for the most part. They're going double negative, triple negative. It's not fun. So I think incorporating more team mechanics in Black Ops 4 multiplayer will definitely be better for the community as a whole. Now, as I said earlier, specialists are back. They do include familiar faces from Black Ops 3, including the Ruin, who now has a grappling hook similar to the grappling hook playlist we saw back in Advanced Warfare, which I adored to death. That was just amazing. And he also has a signature explosive slam, except this time it doesn't seem like a grab spike. It seems more like a single item he's holding, which slams on the ground instead of those two he had back in Black Ops 3. And the Seraph is back with her Annihilator, and even a new tactical deployment set of equipment, which seems pretty cool. Once again, for modes like Search and Destroy, Domination, stuff like that. The Firebreak is back with his flamethrower, along with a revamped Heatwave known as the Reactor Core, so anyone who walks near him will be burned. And newer specialists include the Crash, who acts as a medic on the field, so this is pretty cool and similar to the World War II campaign, with the ability to heal those around him. And we also have a Torque, who places razor wires in order to prevent the enemy from advancing forward on the map. So you now select these specialists when the game loads up, and only one type of specialist is allowed per team. So this is also pretty interesting, another big change to multiplayer as we know it. So it's similar to Black Ops 3 competitive, where you're only able to choose your specialist, I believe, right when the match loaded up. And this is, of course, for, you know, GBs and the competitive side of Call of Duty. And seeing this now in core is going to be very interesting. And only having one type of specialist per team is a pretty good balance. You don't want to have 5 or 6 heat waves on your team who all use it at the same time, killing the entire enemy team when they walk near him. I mean, that's pretty broken. So I'm happy that they're bringing this balance to the game. You just have to be quick with who you choose and when you choose him when you're loading up into a match. And I'll leave a link down below in the description to information regarding all the specialists that we know of so far within Black Ops 4 multiplayer. There'll probably be some hidden ones we haven't heard of yet. We'll probably see most of these available during the Black Ops 4 multiplayer beta, which was also announced. And even though there wasn't a release date for this beta posted out there, it's likely happening in July for PSN and probably in August for Xbox, because once again, the game's releasing a month early. So if they release the beta in August, which it usually does, then Xbox gets it in September, and then the game releases a couple weeks later. So it's not a lot of time for Treyarch to take feedback and, you know, fix things for the main game. So once again, pushing everything early a month is the most likely option for this beta. That's just my opinion, but of course people think something different. But let me know what you think down below in the comments regarding the multiplayer beta. They did send out some codes via your Activision email, whatever email you use for your Call of Duty account. So go ahead and check your email, get that beta code, put it into the Call of Duty website so that once the beta does become available, they'll send you out another code which you can input on the PSN store or the Xbox Marketplace, and you can then get your hands on multiplayer and maybe even Battle Royale, maybe even zombies. You never know. Treyarch changing a lot this year with their Call of Duty model. So we can see so many different things throughout the multiplayer beta. You know, they can even put in a zombies Easter egg. They can put in, you know, a little part of Battle Royale. You never know. We really don't know what's happening anymore. So any predictions people made months ago are probably irrelevant now because, once again, the entire model of Call of Duty DLC, the beta, everything is changing, which I adore to death. So the Create a Class feature in multiplayer does have the familiar Pick 10 system, but there will now be weapon-exclusive attachments. So it's not going to be the usual quick draw, elo sight, high caliber for every single weapon. You're going to see exclusive attachments only for that weapon, which to me is really interesting, definitely changing things up. League play is back, and obviously this is great. Everybody loved League play back in Black Ops 2, and I want to say I think it was called World League or whatever the fuck it was in Black Ops 3. It didn't do as well as League play. There were a couple of things different about it that didn't really turn people on too much. So I think going back to what worked, which is League play in Black Ops 2, is going to be the best option for essentially a multiplayer-centric Call of Duty coming out this year. And for those of us complaining about the new 5v5 system instead of the usual 6v6 in multiplayer, these are obvious competitive changes, and I think we're going to end up growing to like it as time goes on. I'm not defending Treyarch just because I'm a big fan of their dev team, but obviously there's reasons why they're doing this, and they'll probably explain that closer to launch. We're on current-gen platforms, PS4, Xbox One. Obviously, there's no such thing as a hardware limitation for putting in something as a 6v6 when Battle Royale is going to probably have 150 or close to 140 players in a match at a time. So that has nothing to do with hardware limitations, obviously. So they'll probably explain that later on. I'm pretty sure it's going to end up being something simple, and we'll end up figuring it out closer to launch. But next up, Treyarch did say that they never plan to have a traditional campaign for Black Ops 4, but they aren't ruling one out for the future. So this is also interesting information because rumors were saying that the campaign was too outlandish, it had time travel, rewriting events from Black Ops 1 and 2, and to me, I don't see how that's too outlandish. Zombies itself is too outlandish at times. We have dragons in Stalingrad. That already is outlandish. And obviously people say, oh, well, that's zombies, it's fictional, it's science fiction, and the campaign's supposed to be realistic. But again, Infinite Warfare, is that realistic? No. I mean, it's a possibility in the future we might see something like that, but again, campaigns shouldn't be held back. That's all I have to say. But I'm willing to sacrifice a 6, 7, 8, 9 hour, possibly, campaign that I'll only stream once and beat in one stream so that I can have better longevity for a Call of Duty game. I'd rather sacrifice that little portion of the game so that I can have a massive multiplayer experience, more zombies content to cover, and even another game mode, Battle Royale, which is set to be incredibly huge. There's more content to cover with a different DLC model. Instead of waiting 2.5 to 3 months for another DLC pack, you'll have monthly drops of crazy content to keep channels going, streamers going, and it just is better for everyone out there. Yes, as I said before, the campaign gives a Call of Duty its identity in terms of weapons, characters, maps, settings, themes, but seeing with what Treyarch can do now with the team they have is just incredible, and I'm super hyped about it. Now, if they came and revealed Black Ops 4 to us and multiplayer looked dry, zombies looked the same, and there was no Battle Royale, then I'd say, what the fuck did they get rid of campaign for? Then I would say, yeah, Treyarch is going through hell right now. They're having some development issues, and the game's going to come out like a piece of shit, like IW. But no, what we saw really justifies not having a campaign. Now, if they add in little Spec Ops missions for each specialist, which to me is rumored right now, from the leaks I've seen, then that's also okay, because you can add to that as time goes on. More little missions every DLC pack or little expansions every now and then. I'm cool with that, and I'm willing to have that over a non-replayable campaign. And if you want to talk about statistics, there's like, what, 90% of people never touch campaign, and, you know, 80% of people never even fucking finish it when they do start. It's like, come on. The hypocrites who hated Black Ops 3's campaign but want a Black Ops 4 campaign is just, it's laughable. It's honestly laughable. So if we had a Black Ops 4 campaign, I'd rather it be focusing on the Mason story, tying in Black Ops 1 and 2 towards this future DNI corruption shit that happened in Black Ops 3. I'd rather have that over a full campaign about these specialists. Obviously, they made the decision to say, hey, we can incorporate stories, backstories, and settings with these specialists over the course of our multiplayer and battle royale experience. So, once again, bargain it. It makes sense. Treyarch also announced that they aren't done with Black Ops 3 yet. So, obviously that means be expecting more weapons to be added into the black market within multiplayer, possibly some surprises for Black Ops 3 Zombies. We'll just have to wait and see. Definitely can't wait to see what they have in store for us as we wait for the release of Black Ops 3. And last but not least, unfortunately, development for Nintendo Switch is not happening at the moment. Treyarch confirmed that there is no development for Black Ops 4 on the Switch at the moment, despite the leaks that we saw the other day of a Nintendo Switch cover for Black Ops 4 at GameStop. I'm not sure what happened there. Obviously, like Charlie Intel had said, there was some type of miscommunication, uninformed employees who just put out this case as a placeholder when really there isn't a Nintendo Switch version of Black Ops 4 even coming. Now, what's also funny is that we all doubted Charlie Intel when they didn't really give us a source on whether or not Switch was actually getting a Black Ops 4 game. So they had just said trust them because it's not happening, they know, and we got a confirmation now that it's not happening. So there's a possibility that, you know, they could obviously port over maybe a zombies only mode to Nintendo Switch, maybe even just Battle Royale. Maybe not the full game, but something in that sense. So we'll just have to wait and see. But thanks so much for watching. This is the news roundup in regards to multiplayer and a little bit about Treyarch as well. Thank you so much for watching. This has been dkdynamite. Check all the links down below in the description. I am super pumped for Black Ops 4. I'll put images on screen of all my Black Ops 4 swag that I have at the moment. I'm incredibly hyped up, and I just can't wait to see what they have in store for us when the game comes out. This has to be one of the largest releases of all time, especially for Call of Duty. There is so much content to be enjoyed, and I'd rather have this over anything else. Peace out, YouTube.